A very long reach for a bantamweight. To put it into perspective, Sugar Ray Leonard, welterweight, has a 71-inch reach. So long arms for Chandler, as Arthur Mercanti gives the combatants their instructions. Mercanti, by the way, is refereeing his 60th World Championship fight. So Chandler and Sandoval here in Atlantic City. If you missed the news earlier today, Jack Morris of the Detroit Tigers pitched a no-hitter at Comiskey Park in Chicago, the first of the season. So here we go. This is scheduled now for 15 rounds. And a lot of people think it will go, if not 15, perhaps close to it. Not too many people are anticipating an early finish to this one. 10-point must system, 10-point must scoring system here. The three judges do the scoring. They are Sam Sanjus of New Jersey, Eva Shane of New Jersey, and Frank Cappuccino of Philadelphia. Arthur Mercanti does not figure in the scoring. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. If you go down 3 times in one round, the fight is stopped, and there is a mandatory 8 count, no saving by the bell, except in the 15th round. Sandoval in the black trunks. Chandler, who's lost just once in his career in a non-title fight last summer to Oscar Muniz, and avenged that by defeating him in this ring last December with the title at stake. That's a good right hand delivered by Sandoval, who got inside and stunned Chandler, and Jeff is in some danger here up against the rope, and Sandoval putting the pressure on. So Chandler gets stunned early. Sandoval backing off now, looking for some leverage as Chandler tries to weather the storm early on, and he is taking some blows. Good combinations from Sandoval. Sandoval undefeated, another good right hand, and Chandler in trouble in the first round. Sandoval not letting up, relentless, exploiting that opening. He came in with a right hand, and he's been able to exploit it, but Chandler, for the moment, appears to have weathered it with a minute and 10 seconds left in the first round. So not much happened for the first minute and a half of the round, and all of a sudden that right hand by Sandoval, another right, gets in over the top of Chandler's glove. So Sandoval comes out of the box very, very impressively. Chandler, with good foot speed, both men move very, very well. Chandler needs to move a little bit better than he's moving right now, as Sandoval again tries to take advantage, and now a little bit of taunting from Chandler as if to say, I'm not hurt. Jeff does that a lot. And here comes Chandler back on his own now. Chandler with a decent left that got in. 20 seconds left in the first round. So a surprising beginning. As Sandoval is able to exploit the opening. And a very impressive first round for the challenger. What would figure to be a 2-point round in the scoring. You think most of the judges would give it to him 10-8 as we follow Chandler. So Sandoval ready now for the second round. Sandoval 22-0 with 15 knockouts coming in. Chandler's only lost to Muniz in that non-title affair last summer. Chandler has a way of wearing down his opponents in long fights. He's got that jab, that left jab, which is not particularly impressive as you look at each individual blow, but they begin to tell after a while. Second round action, first round belonging to Sandoval. Chandler very determined. One of the things that drives him is the record for title defenses. And in this division, the bantamweight class, not Manuel Ortiz holds the record. He had 19 successful defenses. Held the title 2 different times. Had 15 in a row. Lost the title, came back and won it. Defended it 4 more times. Working inside. And Arthur Mercanti steps in to separate them halfway through the second round. So Sandoval starting very, very fast today. Another good right hand got in again, and a left pushes Chandler back against the ropes. So Sandoval doing some impressive scoring in the opening stages of this bout. Sandoval ranked second by the WBA, putting the pressure on again against the ropes. Chandler normally moves extremely well. His legs, however, here in the first 2 rounds, not taking him out of danger. Half a minute to go in the second round. WBA Bantamweight Championship live from Atlantic City with Sandoval off to an impressive start. And we would give this round to Sandoval. 10-9. On our card, he'd be 3 points ahead after the second round. 3, Jeff Chandler in the green trunks. Richard Sandoval in the black trunks. A small cut has appeared just over the left eye of Jeff Chandler, which they worked on between rounds. Chandler has shown in prior bouts he can take a punch. He, of course, has never been knocked out. Has only lost a decision. One of the things to keep in mind with Sandoval here, too, is that he told us yesterday he wanted to pace himself in this fight. It's 15 rounds. Felt he had a better chance to win it had it down the distance. So then, worried to knock Chandler out. He didn't anticipate that necessarily. Good exchange inside there. He felt that his best chance would be a longer fight. And yet he started out quickly paced, of course, because of that one right hand that hurt Chandler, and he was able to follow up on it. And it was a quickly paced second round for him as well. Chandler ready yet to assert himself through the first 2.5 rounds. You can notice when Jeff has his back to you, that scar that runs across the better part of his back. A lengthy scar, numerous stitches, the result of a street fight hit with a bottle a couple of years ago. Tough kid out of Philadelphia. Another left hand. And Mercanti breaks them apart. Trying to connect with that left hand. That did get in. Half a minute now remaining in the third round. Box out of it. Sandoval making the pace of this fight so far. So the third round coming to an end. The WBA Bantamweight Championship at stake. Fourth round now starting in Atlantic City, scheduled for 15. Richard Sandoval in the black trunks off to a very impressive start as he tries to wrest the crown from Jeff Chandler. in the green trunks, the champion making his 10th title defense. Sandoval has done all of the impressive scoring thus far through 3, with a slight cut above the left eye of Jeff Chandler, worked on by one of the best cut men in the business, Eddie Aliano, in Chandler's corner between rounds. Chandler coming in a moderately heavy favorite. But it's been Sandoval who has dictated the pace and done all of the scoring in the first 3 rounds. Neither man is a stranger to going the distance, by the way. Chandler last year fought a total of 5 times. The shortest bout was the 7-round knockout of Oscar Munoz. Everything else went 10 or more, including a 15-round decision over Gabby Canizales here in Atlantic City last March. I'd like to alert our stations along the line. At the end of this round, we'll take a station break. Halfway through the 4th round. Another impressive thing about Sandoval is the fact he has not fought in 7.5 months. He had a hairline fracture of his right hand, which took place in his last fight, last August 25th against Puerto Rico. But you'd never know it from what's been taking place here so far. You could hear Arthur Mercanti saying, "Stop holding, Chandler." With Sandoval having him up against the ropes. Now Chandler begins to assert himself in some measure. But Sandoval ties him up. Chandler unable to penetrate the defense of Sandoval. Half a minute to go in the 4th round. Sandoval, 2nd ranked by the WBA coming in. Has done almost all of his fighting in the West, in Las Vegas and Los Angeles. He's had 1 fight east of Vegas. That was here late in 1982. And we'll be right back with more of the WBA Bantamweight Championship after this from our local stations. 5th round now, scheduled for 15, WBA Bantamweight Championship. The challenger, Richie Sandoval, asserting himself early in this fight, building up what you would have to assume would be a pretty substantial lead through 4 rounds. You could make a case for giving him every round thus far, in particular the first. It's figured to be a 2-point round when he had Chandler staggered and continued the pursuit through the latter half of the round. Again, Arthur Mercanti, the referee, does not figure in the scoring. 10-point must system. The 3 judges at ringside doing the scoring. Sandoval, those of you who follow amateur boxing, recall that he made the 1980 Olympic team because of the boycott. Never had a chance to manifest it. Frustrated, and that might have been a pretty good shot at winning a gold medal in Moscow, and he turned pro later that year. In fact, he turned pro just 9 days before Chandler won the title. Jeff winning it from Julian Solis on the 14th of November 1980. Sandoval again trying to work inside the defense of Chandler, who has really yet to do anything remotely impressive offensively through the first third of this fight. Now, good left by Chandler, but he's unable to follow up with anything as Sandoval is able to quickly back away. Fifth round. Jeff Chandler from Philadelphia. Richie Sandoval from the Southern California town of Pomona, just outside of Los Angeles. Another good left hand by Sandoval and a right that followed. So the fifth round winding down. Chandler has been weathering everything, but Sandoval, in our estimation anyway, building up a very nice-sized lead as the fifth round ends in Atlantic City. In Atlantic City, this is Al Michaels reporting as we start the sixth round. WBA Bantamweight Championship at stake. Richie Sandoval, undefeated in the black trunks. And Jeff Chandler in the green trunks. It has been basically all Sandoval to this point. Chandler has yet to get anything started. One of the reasons has been the left jab of Sandoval. He's been using it impressively and effectively. And Chandler unable to get anything off early. But now Chandler, with a combination, one of few he has thrown thus far. Among the questions you have to start asking right now, too, is can Sandoval keep up the pace? His first fight in 7.5 months. He had that hairline fracture of his hand, and that's why it's been that long since he has fought. The hand was in a cast briefly. That appears to have opened up just over the lip, the upper lip, maybe under the nose of Sandoval. The cut over Chandler's left eye has been effectively closed and has not bothered him since he incurred it in the second round. Six, and again it's Sandoval forcing Chandler up against the ropes, missing with a wild left hand, but still putting the pressure on, throwing punch after punch, trying to penetrate the defense. And again, he has him backed into the corner as Chandler pushes him away and then begins to taunt him just a little bit. Jeff doing a little bit less taunting in his last couple of fights. A lot of people thought he taunted Muniz too much, stuck his tongue at him in the 10th round of that non-title fight, and his clowning around may have cost him the decision, the only loss of his career. Chandler, in a way, obsessed with records. He wants to tie Panama Al Brown, 10 title defenses. He can do that if he's successful today, the 19 by Ortiz. So that's one of the things that really spurs him on. Jeff, 27 years old. Sandoval at the age of 23 and unbeaten, trying to wrest the title from him. 15 seconds remaining in the sixth round. Well, I spoke with both fighters yesterday. Sandoval is seeking the title after a brilliant amateur career that ended in frustration when the U.S. boycotted the 1980 Olympics, and Richard reflects upon that period.
Well, we did. I just feel a little sad about it because we didn't get to go. But it didn't discourage me as much as it did to other athletes that don't have a profession to fall through as well as like boxing. And that was as far as I was going as an amateur, was 1980, then turning professional afterwards. And it would have been nicer, I think, to gain a gold medal and then turn professional. It would have looked nice, but, you know, I had to bear with it.
What motivates you now? This is the 10th title defense. You've beaten just about everybody in the division. What keeps you going? Defenses. I want to break the records on the defense record. You know, I want to make the most defenses in the bantamweight division. I've got two guys ahead of me, Panama Al Brown and Manuel Ortiz. I want to catch these guys.
Well, one man he has to catch first, I think, is Sandoval, who, in our estimation anyway, has built up a nice-sized early lead through 6 with effective jabbing, some good right hands, and he's dictated the pace of the fight, and he's been able to keep Chandler from getting anything going. Seventh round scheduled for 15. Chandler has been 15 rounds on 3 occasions. Sandoval has never gone more than 10. Of course, he's never been involved in a fight that was scheduled for more than 10 rounds. Sandoval, relatively shy, quiet, and very much in contrast to his effusive brother, Alberto, who lost to Lupe Pintor 2 years back in his bid to win the WBC Bantamweight Championship. Halfway through round 7 in Atlantic City. Again, blood trickling now from the nose of Sandoval. Meanwhile, the cut over Chandler's left eye has been no factor. In the left by Sandoval. Very, very effective with the left hand. Chandler, by the way, predicted yesterday that he would end this fight between rounds 8 and 10. Seventh round. And again, in this round, Sandoval keeping Chandler from getting anything going. So even though Sandoval isn't as impressive as he was early in the fight, he's still keeping Chandler from getting anything off. 5 seconds remaining in the 7th, scheduled for 15. 8th round now in Atlantic City. Jeff Chandler, the champion, and Richie Sandoval, the challenger. And he's been an impressive challenger through 7 rounds. Of course, scoring is so subjective. Everybody has their own opinion. I'm not going to try to outguess what the judges are doing right now. But let's put it this way. I don't think Chandler has won a round. A couple of them may have been even. First round we would give to Sandoval by 2 points. And I have him substantially ahead at this point. But again, one of the great things about boxing, everybody sits there and has their own opinion, and some people see it in a totally inverse way. Sandoval, though, one thing, came in as the underdog, a pretty decisive underdog as well. Chandler trained very hard, told us yesterday, felt he was in the best shape of his career. And is determined, as you can see in the interview, to defend the title to the extent that he can pass Panama Al Brown eventually. He can tie him today with 10. Down the line, Manuel Ortiz with 19. Another right and a quick left, followed by Sandoval. Chandler really has been unable to pursue Sandoval at all. Sandoval, when they're in mid-ring, normally able to tie him up, and he's forced Chandler against the ropes on numerous occasions. So scheduled for 15. Chandler is complaining. Crowd is booing, and Arthur McCanty is caught for an illegal blow. It is Mercanti who is refereeing his 60th championship fight. Chandler complaining there about the holding tactics of Sandoval. Sandoval again puts some pressure on, but Chandler is able to force his way out of the corner by countering back with just a few seconds remaining now in the 8th round in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Ninth round's coming up. Richie Sandoval comes out with a couple of left hands as we start the 9th. Again now, we'll reinforce the idea of keeping in mind the stamina of Sandoval, who's never been 15, who came out rapidly paced at the outset, who's dictated the pace of this fight, and who has not fought in 7.5 months. Chandler, as always, very expressive in the ring. Talks to his opponent, talks to the referee, as the case was right there. But Chandler doing, well, there he is again, pleading his case with Mercanti. He's very frustrated. That's quite apparent at this point. Unable to get anything going. You see the smile across Chandler's face. Certainly not provoked by what has transpired in the first 8+ rounds, though. Remaining in the 9th round. Again, we'd like to alert our local stations along the line that at the end of this round, we'll take a station break. Mercanti having none of it. Still, Chandler continues to plead his case, and Mercanti is barely acknowledging it, obviously not agreeing with Chandler's plea. 15 seconds remaining in the 9th round with the WBA Bantamweight Championship at stake in Atlantic City. And we'll be back with more of ABC's Wide World of Sports after this word from our local station. WBA Bantamweight Championship at stake in Atlantic City. This is the 10th round, scheduled for 15. Jeff Chandler from Philadelphia in the green trunks. And Richie Sandoval of Pomona, California in the black trunks. And if you're just tuning in our estimation, it's been Sandoval's fight all the way. Certainly, early on, you can see Chandler, again, complaining about any number of things over the last 2 or 3 rounds to Arthur Mercanti, holding, clinching, butting even. And Mercanti saying, no, 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 each time. Again, Chandler, who has his attention apparently diverted, winds up on the receiving end of Sandoval's blows. Good combination by Sandoval, working on the head of Chandler. This fight goes another round. It'll be the longest Sandoval has ever gone. And there's Chandler again, who is in a full, I was going to say dialogue with Mercanti. It really hasn't been, though. And now Arthur brings the two of them together for a couple of words. They touch gloves, and back they go. Sandoval showing good movement, good foot speed here in the 10th round. Beginning to look more and more as if Chandler could very well need a knockout to retain his championship, the way things have gone thus far. And it would be, of course, quite an upset, even though Sandoval did come in ranked second in the WBA ratings. The feeling was that Chandler was much the class of this division and has been for some time. In fact, Jeff admittedly was bored by some of his opponents. And there he is again with his discourse with Mercanti. So Chandler with his hands full today, a man who's lost only once in that non-title bout as he went up in weight for one day and lost. 5 seconds remaining in the 10th. 11th round in Atlantic City, WBA Bantamweight Championship. Jeff Chandler unable to get anything going through the first two-thirds of this fight. Sandoval started quickly and effectively, and again comes out with a nice combination here in the 11th round. So Chandler has effectively taken everything Sandoval has thrown, but he has been ineffective in really launching anything of significance. Might behoove Chandler at this point, too, to forget about the attempted dialogue with Arthur Mercanti and concentrate on the fight itself. Sandoval comes back with a right hand. Sandoval moving very, very well here in the 11th round. The longest Sandoval has ever gone, mentioned before, it's the first time he's been involved in a fight of more than 10 rounds duration. He has been the 10-round distance a number of times over the past 2 years. Good left hand, and down goes Chandler. Another left hand halfway through the 11th round. So Sandoval, who started with a near knockdown in the first round, gets his knockdown, and a mandatory 8 is given to Chandler, and all of a sudden, the Bantamweight Championship is very quickly slipping away from Jeff, as Sandoval still puts that pressure on here in the 11th round. Working inside. Backing him into the corner. It's been a familiar pose for these two today, and again, really dishing it out, showing remarkable stamina here in the 11th round. He has been active throughout and showing no signs of tiring here. And that left, which has worked beautifully for him today. Starting the sequence of events that led to the knockdown of Chandler here in the 11th round. 20 seconds remaining in the 11th. Most of whom I think were for Chandler early on. Some of them beginning to chant Richie, Richie. He has impressed them very, very much. So here's a man from California. Chandler is from Philadelphia, which is only about an hour and 15-minute drive from Atlantic City. So a lot of Chandler's friends and supporters are here. And they are bewildered right now as Sandoval has won over a good part of the throng. Again, the knockdown by Sandoval, and then he falls down over him, but then retreats to the neutral corner from another angle right now. He nearly had Chandler down in the first round. Look at that left hand. And again, Chandler went down for the mandatory 8 count. You could see Chandler was again looking at Mercante. He's so concerned about pleading his case to Arthur, and has been for about the last 4 or 5 rounds, that all of a sudden the left comes in, and down he goes. So Sandoval, who can no doubt smell that championship, which may be just minutes away at this point, as we go into the 12th round, can't wait for this round to begin, as you can tell by the expression on his face. Some of the crowd agreeing with Chandler, not that Chandler's right, and we don't think he is, about the complaints regarding holding and clinching that have been going on. But every time the two come together, his supporters, out of frustration, begin to boo. Chandler, you mentioned, from Philadelphia, nearby, and also many of his fights have been held here in Atlantic City, several of his title defenses. He's quite a local favorite, but Sandoval has won over the hearts of quite a few today. Reminder, coming up tomorrow, beginning at 2 Eastern Time, the American Sportsman on ABC, and then USFL football tomorrow. You'll either see the Philadelphia Stars of Arizona or Pittsburgh taking on New Orleans at 2:30 Eastern Time. There's Chandler again. Some of the crowd agreeing with Jeff. I think others, though, are beginning to boo Chandler and his complaining tactics at this point. Halfway through the 12th round. And in our estimation anyway, Chandler would certainly have to have a knockout to win this fight. It has been all Sandoval. It would be really tough to go back and find a good offensive sequence in this fight for Chandler. Slowing down here in the 12th round. Chandler was hurt in the 11th as he went down for what has been the only knockdown of this fight. Another good left hand, and he follows up on it, but again it's that left by Sandoval. So much was made about Chandler's left and that jab, that sticking jab that Jeff has, but he has not used it with any great effectiveness today. It's been that left hand and that left lead by Sandoval. It's done quite a bit of damage here. WBA Bantamweight Championship at stake in the waning seconds now. 12th round in Atlantic City, New Jersey, in a fight that's scheduled for 15. Going to the 13th round in Atlantic City, scheduled for 15. Richie Sandoval. It's been his fight from the very outset. He owns the only knockdown. He came in as a pretty decided underdog against Jeff Chandler, who possibly took Sandoval a little too lightly. Jeff was, in our talk yesterday, extremely confident, though. Felt he was in the best shape of his career. Didn't appear outwardly anyway to be taking Sandoval lightly, but he's been through a plethora of rather unimpressive opponents in his defenses, and perhaps he might have been lulled a little bit. Sandoval is certainly not what anybody of Chandler's caliber and class, even though he does own a couple of victories over Harold Petty, but he's really not remotely close to the way Chandler has been up until today. Chandler was thinking about, if he had won this fight, a fight against Edgar Roman, who's the #1 challenger. Sandoval comes in #2, and then perhaps try to unify that title in a subsequent fight against Albert Davila. Well, that, of course, will go down the drain if Sandoval wins this one.
Stop holding. Let's go.
Pace slowing down, and even Sandoval can dictate that at this point. I'm sure he knows, and his corner has to feel they have this one pretty well secured, and the only thing he has to worry about is not getting caught and being the victim of a sudden knockout. But obviously, in that corner, they have to feel it. He's right on the verge of a championship. And we certainly feel the same way, too. 13th round. So 10 seconds now remaining in round 13 of the WBA Bantamweight Championship. Jeff Chandler's title slipping away. 14th round now. Jeff Chandler, the champion in the green trunks, and Richie Sandoval, presumably the soon-to-be champion, in the black trunks. It's been his fight. Totally. Sandoval still pretty straight in the 14th round. Again, he has never been further than 10. Sandoval certainly showing no rustiness from a 7.5-month layoff. His left hand has been extremely effective, but his right has been there as well. That was the hand that suffered the hairline fracture last August, necessitating the rather lengthy layoff for him. And it does not appear to have bothered him at all. Sandoval, a man who was denied a possible Olympic gold medal. He made the team because of the boycott. Had a chance, he felt, to prove what he could do against the world's best amateurs taken away. But he's proved himself as a professional through his first 22 fights, going unbeaten, and certainly today. Because not only is he handling Chandler, which a lot of people didn't think was possible, he's really dominating. Again, just one knockdown in the fight. Coming in the 11th. Chandler going down for the mandatory aid after a left hand from Sandoval. Sandoval putting just enough pressure on Chandler now, making sure, as we remarked in the last round, not to be caught. It's about the only thing that can lose the fight for him at this point. Among other things, Sandoval showing he has a lot of stamina. 14th round. And he's kept up a good pace throughout. And he is still the man that's putting the pressure on. A wild right, followed the left by Sandoval. Sandoval again working inside. And the 14th round comes to an end. So one round to go for Sandoval. Next fight, it was going to be Chandler's next confrontation on his way to what he hoped was a unification fight against Davila. So here we go in the 15th and final round now in Atlantic City. Richard Sandoval, whose brother lost in a bid for the Bantamweight Championship WBC version to Lupe Pintor a few years back, now on the verge division, winning one for the family. A great left staggered Chandler. Chandler in trouble again here in the 15th round. Sandoval tying him up. Again, referee Mercanti does not figure in the scoring. The three judges at ringside will decide. And with Sandoval on his way to a victory, what's really stunning will be the margin of victory. If he had eked out a split decision, that would have been a big upset. But the way things have gone, nobody figured that this fight would be dominated the way it has been by Sandoval. Going to stop this fight in the 15th round. Richie Sandoval is absolutely ecstatic. And Jeff Chandler took some beating today at the hands of the 23-year-old from Pomona, California, who came in as a decided underdog against a man generally regarded as not only the best bantamweight in the world, he was the world champion, but a man far superior to anybody else in this division. And yet it is Sandoval today who makes this fight, who does all of the damage, who had Chandler hurt early in the first round, knocked him down in the 11th, and then it finally comes to a climax here in the 15th round. But the decision would not have been in doubt anyway. It ends just prior to what would have been the end of the 15th round. But there was no doubt about how this one would have come out at all. In fact, if Chandler won one round in this fight, you're going to have to show me how. It was Sandoval all the way. And so Richard, who is, as we mentioned before, quite in contrast to his effusive brother, Alberto, very shy, very modest, will wear the crown, the bantamweight champion. Richard Sandoval, we congratulate you. Did you in your wildest dreams think you could dominate Chandler like you did today?
Well, not really. I knew it was going to be a chess game, but I didn't expect to bring it out like this. I was just going to do my best. That's all I knew. To do it for Jesus Christ, because he did it for me. Thank you, Lord.
Now, you said yesterday you were going to pace yourself a little bit, but that opening came early for you in the first round with that one right hand, and it seemed like you relentlessly pursued him after that.
I trained very well for this fight, and now it's my natural pace. It looked fast to me. When I watch myself on TV, I can't imagine how fast I am, and that's my natural pace. And to other people, they must think I'm sprinting, but I'm just relaxed and calm, and I felt good. I felt good throughout the entire fight.
Well, you look terrific, obviously, and again, we congratulate you. And briefly, what about the future? Have you thought about that right now? Who's next?
Right now, this is what we were concentrating on really intelligently, and we definitely made it, and we'll think about it later. And right now, I'm just so happy in my life that, God, I thank ABC for telecasting my fight, and God, I love you, and everybody in Pomona and California, hey, I love you.
Well, you deserved it. Congratulations. Very good. Outstanding performance.
I want to give credit to Jeff because he was a really gallant fighter, and I give him credit.
Okay. Congratulations again. Let me just get a quick word here with Arthur Mercanti. Here he is. Okay. Arthur, play to the high camera right here. Chandler seemed to be attempting a dialogue with you throughout the fight. What was going on?
Well, no, Chandler was complaining of his holding the entire evening, but it was the other way around. It was Chandler who was doing all the holding, and I continually told him, don't talk, keep boxing, box, you have to box to win this fight. But he was just complaining about Sandoval's holding, but it was not Sandoval, it was Jeff.
It could have been more out of frustration than anything else, I guess.
Yeah, I think he was totally frustrated. I kind of think that he knew that he was out of the fight at the early part, and he's kind of trying to talk his way out of it, really.
Thank you, Arthur. Jeff Chandler, I think we just have a brief moment. Jeff, let me just get a word with you for a second. I know how disappointed you have to be, but the man definitely dominated the fight today. What are your feelings right now?
So he fought a pretty tough fight, you know. The way we fought was alternated by the referee, you know. The way we fought was alternated by the referee. He was telling me, you know, stand straight up, you know, and stuff like that. And me being a tall bantamweight, you know, it's kind of difficult for me to stand straight up with a smaller fighter.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to give some credit to Sandoval.
I give a lot of credit to Sandoval. It's just that the referee made me fight where it was more better for Sandoval to hit me or hurt me a little bit.
Well, what would you do differently against Sandoval the next time?
I get a new referee. He fought a tough fight. Sandoval fought a very tough fight. The way he fought the fight was constant pressure, jabs, right hands, hooks, and stuff like that. The way
he stunned you early, too.
Yes, he did early, knocked me down and everything. You know, he was a real tough fighter.
All right, Jeff, we'll see you down the line.
Back, though.
Okay. So Sandoval wins it again. We have the scoring from the officials. One judge a 14-point lead, the other a 13-point advantage, and Frank Cappuccino with an 8-point advantage. So it was Sandoval all the way, and it ends officially in the 15th round as Sandoval wins it.